Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Behind the Blind. This is Nadir.
And this is Yadira.
What's going on, wife?
Alhamdulillah.
How's life treating you?
Great.
That's good,
Except
alhamdulillah.
for the bugs. We are on location right now.
We are on location. We are actually on a little getaway, me and the wife, and we are sitting outside recording this.
So you're going to hear all the sounds
so you
of
can
nature.
hear all the ambiance and the sounds of nature, and
I'm
Yadira just freaking out.
over bugs. I'm giving you guys a heads up. I am very afraid of bugs, especially the ones that buzz and sting and fly around. And yeah.
This is gonna be a very interesting podcast today.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. All right, so we're still on Yadira's journey, right?
Yep.
Where were we last? Just give us a recap, and
I
then
think
we'll pick up.
if I remember correctly, I was at the point where we were, where I had met you
Yep.
at the Drew University college program that was being sponsored by the Commission of the Blind of New Jersey
Yep.
for blind students who were thinking of going to be college bound.
Mm-hmm.
And I met you there. I was in sort of a phase where I was figuring out what I wanted to do and where I needed to be in terms of religiosity and life and spirituality and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where we were at.
Okay. All right. So let's keep it moving. Yallah.
So Bismillah. I had decided that we were going to tell the story on two different sort of tracks, right?
Yeah.
So we went down the track of my schooling and what that was like as a blind student, and that kind of the types of adversaries that I had to face and whatnot.
Okay.
So now we're going to go back a little bit. I mean, way back, and then we're going to take the track of more of my personal life.
We're going way back. It's the way back machine.
Back in the time. Okay. So...
All right, let's do this. Go.
So I'm born to a very young mother.
Okay.
I don't know my father because he was also young, and I'm not excusing him. And a little bit of a disclaimer here. I'm in this story really not trying to vilify anyone. It's not my job to do that. Whatever happens and whatever people actions, whatever their actions are, that's between them and the law.
Yeah, of course.
So my job is not, and my goal is not to vilify or anything. I'm just sharing my story and my experiences according to those events. My perspective might be different than somebody else's. And I'm also not trying to excuse people, but I've over time have learned how to understand why or how, not necessarily why, because Allah is the one who knows everything, but how or to an extent why things happened, and then take it from there. And then I have my response according to that, because that's the only thing that I kind of just have control over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's sort of my disclaimer. So in terms of my father, I don't know him. He was young, and I don't know, wasn't ready to deal with the responsibility of a kid, although he was ready to deal with the making of a kid.
As most of the society really is. Let's be real here.
You know, and the thing is, I think another thing here, people in general, this is a generality, are very quick to vilify.
Is generality a real word?
Yeah.
Or is that word you just made up?
No.
Okay.
They're quick to vilify the girls in these situations. He got to walk away scot-free, you know, and no responsibility, nothing. And at this point in my life, I have no interest in ever knowing him. It's not that I hold anger or anything like that, because people are quick to be like, you have to forgive and all this, that, and the third. Oh my God, there's something on me. Sorry.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, there's something on me. I'm sorry. Okay.
I'll go back to being serious now.
Okay, yeah, you got to be serious, wife.
Okay.
Be serious.
I'm trying.
Stop
crawled
playing
on
around.
Me, though. So,
you got to be serious.
Okay. Bismillah. He got to walk away scot-free and never had to deal with the responsibility and challenges of raising a child. Now, my mother did not raise me either, but she didn't walk away. I've known her since...
Your whole life?
My whole life.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't I never met him. I've never in my entire life met him. So my grandmother raised me, and my mother was involved in my life.
Yep.
My grandmother was married to somebody who was not a good person. He did a lot of... here's the thing. When it comes to this personal side, I'm not going to go as detailed because it's very raw and it's very emotional. And there are things that happen that I can't retell without experiencing a lot of the emotions that go with it. And it's a lot to take on. So I'm going to share what I'm comfortable with and how I'm comfortable with sharing it.
And you keep what you don't want to share. That's it.
And I think people can get the gist of things.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't see that as an issue.
So this man was an awful excuse for a living, breathing thing.
Yes.
He did things to me that should never be done to anyone, particularly a child. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I think that gets to the heart of the matter.
It does. And,
Yeah.
Once that type of damage has been done, there's no one doing it,
Yep.
That's something that stays with you forever, even if you heal from it. It's like a very sore wound, right? It's healed, but there are things that may trigger and it'll hurt all over again. So, may Allah give him what is due to him, whatever that may be.
I mean,
but that's a poor excuse for anything living and breathing. So, but that happened.
Yep.
Growing up, and nobody really knew about it. And as it happens so often, so we're living in the projects really, and that's happening. My grandmother was working really hard as a seamstress, and she was doing all her work. Now, my grandmother herself, she was this woman who, it's such a complicated relationship between her and I. She raised me to be really strong, to stand up for myself, as I had discussed previously in the other episodes. She taught me how to fight for myself. She wasn't the mom who was like, well, the teacher's always right, and that's that. It's no. That's not how that works.
That's not the game
nope.
that she's playing.
So I never grew up in that type of environment where the teacher's right, you're wrong. And nope, it was a total opposite for us, because she saw the ugly side of education, of the public education system. So she knew how nasty it could get, and she taught me never to take what anybody gave me. Stand up for yourself, stand up for those who can't. And she really did teach me all that. And she was such a strong woman, and she took on a lot. And she herself had a lot of trauma going up. And I won't share all the details of that because that's not my story to tell. Some of the effects of her trauma, though, affected me. Due to the trauma she faced, she had severe mental illness diagnosed. And I'm not going to go into her diagnosis either. But she had severe and mental illness, and it was a diagnosis. It wasn't something that was like a self-proclaimed thing. No, she had a legitimate...
She didn't say, oh, I'm crazy.
Oh, no. She had legitimate diagnoses. She had more than one.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue was that she did not maintain treatment, whether that was medical, like medicines or psychotherapy or anything. So when you leave severe mental illness unchecked, there are going to be some serious ramifications for those around you. And that was the case in my home. I grew up with someone who was very mentally ill. And so there was I had to grow up very quickly. When you have somebody like that, a lot of times you end up, in a sense, parenting, because you always have to worry about, how is the next step I take going to affect them? Are they going to fly off the handle? Are they going to lose it? Are they going to... So everything you do it, it's almost like you're walking on eggshells, because you don't want to upset the person.
Yeah.
And if you upset them, you're going to upset them.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of that. And this is, again, not to vilify her. It's a complicated relationship. I love her, but there are things that I can't get past. Yes, every parent makes mistakes, but those, I don't consider that mistakes.
I think that's a cop-out.
I think so.
Right? Every parent makes mistakes, so it's okay if they did this, and that horrible thing to you. No, it's not.
Right.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. Because I have children, and under no circumstances would I ever... I think that's one thing I did learn, alhamdulillah, that despite of... I'm going to go outright and say it, and again, not to vilify, but all the abuse, because there was a lot of abuse at home.
Yeah.
I learned that I made a promise to myself, even as a little kid, that if I ever had children, there were two things. They were going to know their father, period. And if that was the case, then I just wouldn't have kids, if that was not an option.
Yep.
And the other promise I made was that they would not be abused. Because if I would turn into that, or I was with someone that, I married somebody that was abusive, I'd rather not have kids. I wouldn't do it. So these were promises that I made to myself as a very young kid. I remember being around 10 years old and thinking this. And actually, that's a really crucial age, because I'll get there in a second. So anyways, I was raised Catholic. I did all the sacraments. I did all actually, this is where my grandmother comes in again. She made it her mission to make sure that she learned how to read Braille by sight, and so did my aunt. And what they did was they took all the books and they brailled them themselves, all the materials for the classes and the tests. And then I would take the tests in Braille, and then they would send it in. They would review my Braille answers, and they would mark the grade, and they would send it in. So I was able to do all of those classes like that. So that's a lot of effort. She literally sat there and learned how to read Braille by sight. I remember the little worksheets from kindergarten, and 2 plus 2 is 4, right?
2 plus 2 is 4.
I was literally
2 plus 2 is 4. 2
Anyway,
plus 2 is 4.
So
I can see why everybody likes this show.
So
got that Simpsons reference in.
Of course you did. So she would glue the little buttons on the pictures so that I could count them, or she would glue yarn on the coloring books, on the outlines, so that I could color with the rest of my cousins. So there were really great things that she did, and but there were also really awful things that she did because of her mental illness. So it was always this sort of seesaw,
Yeah, it's up and down.
Up and down.
up
And that's why I
down.
say it's complicated.
Yeah.
I love her and I miss her because she passed away. But at the same token, there are things that the scars are deep, very, very deep. But anyway, so I did the communion, the first communion. I did the confession thing. I think I discussed all of these things and how I lied in confession.
Yep.
And so
How you said you just couldn't
I couldn't
rock,
I couldn't get down with that.
to say the least. That's the nice
because
way to say it. You
right.
couldn't rock with it.
No. And you know what? That's fine if that's what you believe in. And I'm not knocking whatever other people believe in or whatever, but it was not something that I felt comfortable with,
Yeah.
But so living with all that turmoil, now at this point there was a guy who I thought was my father. He was involved in my life and I really did love him. He is my sibling's father. And then when I was 10, that's why I said 10 is a crucial age for me, I found out that he wasn't my father. And it was just, I remember just thinking, I was being told, don't cry, but how are you not supposed to cry? And that so many times in my life had been told, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And so it was, I actually didn't. I took a deep breath and I swallowed that huge lump in my throat and I breathed out and I never cried about it. And I don't think that's a healthy way to manage just finding out, that guy you think is your dad, that's not your father. Oh my God, your phone startled me. I'm already on edge because of, bugs.
You got to get off the edge.
But anyway, listen.
Get off that edge, wife.
So I don't think that was the healthiest way to handle that.
No.
But I didn't, and that's what I mean that I kind of grew up very quickly because a lot of things that happened, you just don't cry. And strong girls don't cry, although that wasn't really the word that I used because there was a lot of name calling. So I used something else to reference myself, and that's not appropriate either.
Not at all.
So, and this is a little kid telling herself that. Let's keep that in mind. And so, but you don't cry. You don't cry.
I mean, I think we should explore that, though.
What?
What you often called yourself.
The B word?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was called that a lot.
And you were like, bees don't cry.
Yeah.
To yourself.
To myself.
Saying the word, actually. Yep. And you stayed with that.
I do.
For a long time.
Sometimes it still seeps out. Like if I'm really upset.
Yeah.
It'll come up and I swallow it down. And but I don't let that come through on my kids. It's the total opposite with our kids.
Yeah.
We are all about, tell me how you're feeling. We do every couple weeks we're checking in and we're talking like every 2-3 weeks or so. Like, how are you feeling? And we have like the scale where we're like on a 1 to whatever. Where are you feeling? 1 is the saddest, very depressed. And we do this with all the kids, even our 4-year-old. We talk about our feelings. We share what's going on. We do these mental check-ins. And so we're really supportive of sharing your feelings in a respectful manner, of respecting everyone else's feelings.
But it's not like, oh, you did something wrong. And they're like, I feel I didn't do something wrong.
No.
Like, no.
You did something wrong.
We're not talking about like that. We're talking about, we just want to make sure that...
Well, I'll give you the pandemic, for example.
Yeah,
we've been on total lockdown because we are very careful because of situations that we've had to deal with people, quite frankly, trying to take our kids because we're blind.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're on lockdown and, that can be really stressful on kids. And alhamdulillah, our kids are really well. Like they're like, yeah, we don't like the pandemic, but we're happy. Alhamdulillah, we have our family, we have our home, we have our, our animals because we have cats and stuff. And they're happy. They're generally overall happy kids. And
we can only do what we can do.
Right.
We check in on them. We make sure they're good. We
talk, we laugh, we have Islamic discussions.
Exactly.
We bond, we joke with each other, we play with the kids. There's lots of, we hug them. You know what I mean? The kids walk in and they feel comfortable to talk to us about anything. It's a very different environment than how I grew up. Yeah. And that was the other promise I had made to myself. My kids were not going to live the way that I did. They're not going to know what it is to walk on eggshells. And so I had found out that wasn't my dad at 10 years old.
Yep.
And I was supposed to be okay with that. Like, not angry, not sad, not...
Just walk it off.
Yeah. Like nothing had happened. And then to make it worse, instead of this man stepping up and saying, yes, I'm not your biological father, but that doesn't matter because I love you and you're still my daughter. He just walked out of my life.
La ilaha illallah. Just walk, literally.
Yeah.
La ilaha illallah.
And so then I had to deal with that because it almost felt like losing a father all over again. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't know your father. You find out the man you think is your father is not. He walks out of your life. You had this other disgusting...
And we're talking like completely out of your life. Not like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be as involved as I was. No. Like...
And it didn't... Listen, I think he took me once to Chuck E. Cheese when I was like 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
And bought me a birthday gift. And then that was
And that was it. Done.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's like, خلاص, يعني, the cat is out of the bag. I know you're not my father, so يعني, you have to treat me like a stranger now.
Like I did something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, literally, like, I've never heard this guy ever call to check in on you. I've never heard of this guy ever asking about you. I've never heard this guy doing anything like that.
No.
I mean, and literally he was in your life playing the role of your father for 10 years.
There is a picture that I think I still have somewhere. Okay. Yeah. I am turning 5 or 6. It's at my birthday, and my grandmother had done a party for me at McDonald's. Back in the day, they used to do the big birthday parties at the McDonald's. And the McDonald's by my old house had the big
play gym and stuff. Yeah,
all that. So it was like this great birthday party, and I think it was one of those things that stays with you because I even remember playing some of the games we played. He was there, and there's a photo of me sitting on his lap, cheek to cheek, cutting the birthday cake.
Yep,
it's a very father-daughter moment.
Yeah.
I was so happy that day. And I got back in the day, those little Fisher-Price little people.
Yep.
I got a ton of those and Play-Doh and a Light Bright. And think about how impactful that was if I can remember all of that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the birthday was celebrated on a Sunday. Okay. I was 5 or 6 and I can remember all of those details. So this is how involved he was in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, even though my mother wasn't raising me, he used to come over by my house and he would spend hours with me, playing with me. I remember these things vividly. And I called him Bobby, you know? Mm-hmm. That's what I called. I thought he was my father. And then when I found out he wasn't, he walked out of my life. And that was hard. But I didn't cry about it because that's not what I did, you know? Mm-hmm. And so that happened, right? And I think that's one of those things that does shape you. And it kind of starts, considering all the things I had already been through up to that point with men, it starts to shape your view of men. Mm-hmm. You start thinking,
boy, do I know that.
Yeah. and I don't use that line anymore, but you're not my father.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't even have a father. So who does anyone think that they're going to come in and
tell you what to do?
Right.
And try to play some kind of manly role in your life.
No, it's just right. So,
I mean, I think as you're going through this too, you should definitely talk about all the different male influences in your life. Are you going down that track?
Yeah, I'm just not going to, divulge absolutely everything.
Of course.
My uncle also played a big role in my life, fatherly figure. And then it came to a certain point when I was like 15 where he decided that he needed to live his life and he kind of walked out. But it wasn't just on me. He kind of walked out on the whole family for the most part when he saw him on like Christmas and Thanksgiving or Mother's Day. But it was a really minimal. But he kind of just walked out of my life too. Just, you go from being, sorry. Things are crawling on me like something just landed on me. Anyway.
You wanted to say hi.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't need to. Thank you. I'm fine without it. He used to take me to Wendy's on the weekends after church or IHOP. We would go because that was our, uncle, niece or kind of like fatherly thing. We would do this every weekend.
Yep.
And then it came to a point where he felt he needed to follow his path. That's what he chose to do. But following his path meant kind of dropping everybody. And it didn't matter how that affected anyone else because he needed to live his truth.
Yep.
And that was
his truth.
Right.
Quote unquote.
We're going to leave that there. But that's whatever. So just another man who just kind of left.
Yeah.
I think he would view it differently, though, because he never cut contact with me, gave us a generous gift for the wedding. And he, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, not cutting contact with you means what? When's the last time he texted you?
He didn't text me. It was a group text, and it was when my grandmother had passed away. So that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to get to.
Yep.
But, it was minimal contact. But you go from IHOPs on the weekends to barely talking to me. I'm going to count that as walking out of my life. Yeah. So there's another man who just walked out of my life.
Yep.
And so that has been my experience with men. Just walking out of my... And then little side note here, a lot of you hear a lot of, and this is like in the Muslim community where there are like people saying women are this and this, feminism this and all this. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you from experience that if we don't have real men, you have a lot of boys playing at men, then how do you expect women to act how Allah has prescribed us to behave?
Yes.
You know what I mean? We don't have our counterpart to balance all of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, quite frankly, whether people want to hear this or not, there is more boys playing at men than there are real men out there. And
that's where it starts.
That's where it starts.
You are the, as a man, you are the, you're the herder of your flock.
Well, in my family, in my case,
it's just a random flock.
Well, it's all women having to do it.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother's trauma all came from her father.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. This is deep-seated too. This is generational for real.
Very generational. All came from her father. And then what happened? Her mother had to take on the 9 kids and do it all by herself. And then the husbands that my grandfather, they got my biological grandfather got divorced. When my mother got pregnant, and then I understand that, it may not have been the right thing to do and all that stuff. I get it. And you're not going to get me to be like, oh my God, this is horrible. I mean, I'm a product of that. So I'm not going to negate my own,
of course.
Gratitude for my existence.
Yeah, of course.
However, it may have come to be. You know what I mean? But he took her off the health insurance. And so then she when she went to give birth. So she had no, you know what I mean? You're literally showing me before I'm even born, you don't care about me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And she did. My mother almost died. My mother literally almost died giving birth to me. She was passed out when I was born. She didn't even realize. She faintly heard me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and where was her father?
Nowhere.
No, because she was the shame of the family. I get things happen, things are mistakes, but that's just, it's complicated. You know what I mean?
No, of course. And I think this is definitely a different episode we could talk about because coming from your perspective.
Right.
Right. But we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. But okay, that's yet another man.
Yeah.
I think the last time I saw my biological grandfather, I think I was 11 years old. It was at my aunt's house.
So right after your father told the person playing the role of your father told you, I'm not your father.
Well, he didn't tell me. Actually, it was my mother who told me because he didn't want me to find out. But my mother was like, it's going to happen because people talk and people are mean and they're going to say something to her. And I want her to hear from me. And I respect that.
But then it's like, bro, you don't want me to know, so you leave? What the hell is that?
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean?
That he dropped the ball completely there. And he should have been there with my mom telling me.
Exactly.
He should have been supporting her in that.
But he
didn't.
1,000,000%.
Again, he failed. He absolutely failed.
Yes.
And my grandmother wasn't too happy about it, but and I'll give her this much. She asked me, how do you feel? And I said, I'm fine. And I think she knew I wasn't, but that culture back then was you don't talk about your feelings.
Yep.
So, she just made rice and beans and chicken and
called it a day.
We ate dinner and that was that,
Yeah.
But so yeah, my grandfather, I saw him when I was 11. He was at my aunt's house and I barely saw him. It's not like he was talking, he was drinking. He was pretty drunk with the beers. And I was hanging out with my cousins and that was really fun because I was always with those cousins. And we were watching Nick at Night.
Wow.
You remember that?
Wait, this was what year?
I was like 11, so 95 maybe?
95, 96?
I was 95.
What the hell was on Nick at Night in 95?
This is like Ren and Stimpy.
No, that was Snick.
That was Snick. That's what I meant, not Nick at Night.
Come on,
Snick.
man.
Sorry.
Get your references right,
Okay,
wife.
whatever. It was Snick.
God.
Because it was Ren and Stimpy.
Unbelievable.
And Are You Afraid of the Dark?
All that. Doug.
Yep, Doug, Rugrats, all that stuff.
And you could use that as a Nasheed background track, by the way.
So that's weird. So that was cool because again, those cousins in particular, I had growing up with them like siblings. So
yeah, of course.
It was like another day, really, another weekend. I was always at their house. So he just happened to be there. You know what I mean? I think he said hi to me. And I might have given him like a really uncomfortable hug.
Yeah, but that's the most of the...
That was it for the entire interaction that he was there. And he was there for a couple hours. And that was the last time I saw him. And then years and years later, he requested me on Facebook. And I just started cracking up. I'm like, oh, you want the product of the shame of the family to be friends with you on Facebook? How about you go somewhere else with that? So that was that. There was so yet another man who was disturbingly disappointing. And, by this point...
Hold on. Why the hell does he want to be friends with you on Facebook?
I don't know.
Why, bro? What?
This was,
and this is after you're Muslim.
I had Noah.
And you had Nuhi already.
I had a second kid.
And your picture was you covered.
Yes, I don't think I had.
What is he? Was he reborn? And he wanted to try to convert you?
No.
Or did he just want to have another Facebook friend?
I don't know.
Or did he need money? Or what the hell was it?
I don't know. I don't think it was the conversion or money. I think it was more like he's always like, you're my grandkid, so what's the big deal? You know what I mean? Quite frankly, There's
a lot of big deal, though.
I don't think he even recognizes most of his grandkids. And I think the reason he can recognize me is because I am a carbon copy of my grandmother.
Yeah.
So much so that Della has seen pictures of my grandmother when she's young, like in her 30s. He literally swore it was me. Because he's like, especially this one photo where she's holding these 2 dogs. And he's like, when did we get those 2 dogs, Mama? And I'm like, my mom starts laughing. She's like, that's not Mama. That's Mamita. That was my grandmother. And he was like, nah. And it's because I could pass for her daughter, not because I don't look like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So he recognizes me even with the scarf because I'm her. I'm my grandmother all over again. I don't know. And I, quite frankly, am not interested. Like, I don't really, you have your story and, mashallah, that's beautiful for you. Que lindo. But for me, no, I don't care about your story. I don't care about my biological father.
Hold on. Let's go back to these. Okay, so que lindo means what? For those who don't know, what does que lindo
Literal
mean?
translation?
Yeah.
Like how pretty.
How pretty.
But like,
but when you say it, when you're saying it now, you're saying it in a very sarcastic manner.
Yeah, like, oh, that's nice.
Like, oh, that's nice.
Nice for you.
Yeah.
But
all right, let's go.
I'm not interested in these stories because you know what? You feel they're justified for whatever reason that may be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not interested in that. I have my life to live and my story to tell. And I'm not interested in what you have to say.
Yes.
I think at one point I was, because I do remember it could have been my sophomore or freshman year in high school where I didn't want to meet my father, my biological father. But that faded pretty quickly. I started realizing that if he didn't come forward in all these years, then he really didn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And kind of the same thing for all these people. If you have your life to live and that's your priority, that's okay. That's fine. That's
good for you.
Good for you. But then, at no point do you think you would ever have the room or
the thing is they want to get their life back together so that you're expected to just automatically be ready to go.
Yeah, to sort of slide right in and fill that missing puzzle piece.
Okay, I've been waiting this whole time for you to finally stop being a jerk.
So now you're going to crust me on Facebook. Like, well, your puzzle's going to have to stay incomplete because I want nothing to do with that.
Exactly. Yep. And this is human nature, bro.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not that I'm holding grudges or anything. It's just that I've set my own boundaries and I'm not going to play those games. I don't play you know what I have? I have a great husband and 4 kids and I have a relationship with my mom and I have other people that love me and I don't have a need for anything else, especially from people who should have been there and chose not to,
Exactly.
So we're now like 15.
Yep.
And this is kind of when my uncle sort of had to go live his own life or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in high school. I had that awful excuse for a creature I was spoken of earlier that was married to my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Not my biological grandfather, the other dude. He left. He literally said, I'm going to go food shopping and never came back. And I knew this was coming because I had caught him secretly talking to his daughter and making these arrangements.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, at that point, been real, put on my detective skills, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pick up the phone. I would watch him to see when he was talking, and I would go grab the other line really quietly, put it on mute, and listen to the whole conversation. So I had been telling my grandmother, he's going to do this. Like, I knew detail for detail. She didn't believe me, and I got yelled at, and I got told that I was lying,
Mm-hmm.
And then when he
called every name out of the book,
because she was really good on the name calling and emotional and mental abuse,
mm-hmm.
and this man was awful, awful, awful. Oh my God. It's just, I can't even go down that road of how awful he was. And I still don't know why the hell she loved him so much. I can't figure it out because he was just deplorable.
Mm-hmm.
And, but anyway, he said he was going to food shopping. And in my head, I'm like, ooh, today's the day. He's not coming back. I told my grandmother when he left, I said, he's not coming back. And she yelled at me some more. And then he never came back. I was 15
mm-hmm.
when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it. And that what I was happy for, though, because literally, subhanAllah, without being a Muslim, I used to go and pray every day since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Please remove him from my life. Please make it so that he'll never come back. And I remember this because I would even, subhanAllah, I would be crying so hard and my head would be on the ground. Like, I didn't even know I was in sujood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, I guess, the natural.
It's the khalas, when you want to speak to your creator, Allah, he endows you with this fitrah that you have from birth. And we know from hadith that even, the call of the oppressed, Muslim or non-Muslim, will be answered by Allah.
And so I used to pray like that, and not to anyone else but God.
Yeah.
It was only, I hated him so much. And I don't like using that word hate, but
look, I don't see a problem with the word hate personally. I hate a lot of people.
Do you know what it is to be so afraid? You'd be sleeping in your room and you could hear that doorknob turning, and you're just thanking God so hard that the door is locked and praying to God that the lock doesn't break. This is the type of man that was living in my home.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would hear the footsteps walk away quietly because the door wouldn't open. That's what I lived with in growing up with. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go much more into detail.
I think that's enough.
Besides that,
I don't think we need to.
And that's for me, and also kind of with you, because I can see that it's upsetting you already. I don't want to upset myself or you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So, but that's kind of the things we had to deal with, and it wasn't just me. It was me and one of my aunts, and those are the kind of things that we had to deal with. And when you were growing up, you're a teenager, you have all this stuff, and then this guy finally leaves. My grandmother was devastated, but subhanAllah, I went to my room and was like, "Thank you so much, God, you answered my prayer." And I knew there was going to be a lot of struggles financially, and I knew it was coming in terms of that.
Yeah,
and there was. She had to take on more hours of work, and she had to do a lot more. And even with all of that, actually, she still managed to pull off a sweet 16 for me, which was really nice. And had the big dress and the whole big deal. I never missed out on that. And I appreciate her for that, because that was a lot of sacrifice that she made. So now, we're in that hardship and we move forward. We are, coming to my senior year? When my friend died. And that was, I think I discussed that. Like, he died in a car accident.
Yep.
The prior week, I know that I had gone through something like that was pretty life-shattering. And it was, but it's really like... I don't know that I can bring myself to discuss it, because it was, I don't know, Nadir, what do you think?
I don't remember what it is. So
okay.
I'm not going to lie and say, do it, don't do it.
Gotcha.
I can't even remember what it is exactly.
And the thing is, okay, so it was,
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I feel like a terrible husband now.
It's okay.
It
was the week before
husband.
My friend had died, just not a full week, because that was a Sunday. My friend died on a Friday.
I don't think I'm a horrible husband.
No, you're not. You're not. No, don't say that about yourself. May Allah reward you for the good you do.
I mean,
so, it was due to my grandmother, and she had done some things that were really, really.
Okay, I know what it is now.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot.
You explained how your grandmother is extremely mentally ill.
Yeah. So it has to do with that.
I think you got the caveat in that. So yeah, go ahead, go for it. I don't see an issue.
It has to do with that. She didn't like anybody disobeying her or just defying her in any way, shape, or form, down to the most minimal detail. And
Arab fathers, you hear that? You hear that, Arab fathers? Yeah. Probably Desi fathers too, but I know Arab fathers for a fact. Like, you can't disagree in the most minute detail. Yeah. Even I get that sometimes, but then, alhamdulillah, I check myself, and Yadira's quick to be like, yo, what are you getting mad at? So,
right. And you never have taken it even close to...
No, never, ever.
You'll get upset, and you'll walk away, and I'll ask you privately, why are you so upset over this? This is like, ridiculous.
Because I'm upset.
Right, but the kids don't ever really see that. That's something because when you get all upset, you take yourself out of the situation.
Yeah, no, alhamdulillah.
And the kids never see that.
You learn better. Better, alhamdulillah.
So, and then I'll go behind you privately and be like, you are being ridiculous right now.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't let the kids see me calling their father ridiculous either, because we're a team.
Mm-hmm.
But,
go ahead, yeah.
So you can defy her.
I think you could say that. Yeah.
I don't know that I'm going to go into full detail, but
sure.
You can defy her in any way, shape, or form. And someone in my family did, with the most ridiculous thing. They had dyed their hair a color she didn't like, and this person was married. And this person, all they said was, "You can't do this to me anymore. I'm married. I'm not going to change my hair. All I did was dye it, and I'm not going to do this. You can't do this to me anymore." And I was in the kitchen. I remember because that day I had come in for one of the final rehearsals. Like, we were towards the last week for the play, the big school play. And so I had been at school since like 8 a.m, and it was like 5 o'clock, 5:30, almost 6 o'clock at night. And we came home, and my grandmother was supposed to be, I was going to have dinner, and then I was going to go do my homework. I'm in the kitchen, and this is happening upstairs, and my grandmother just slaps so hard. You could hear it in the kitchen.
You were upstairs?
I was downstairs.
Oh, you were downstairs.
And she was upstairs.
Oh, okay.
You could hear it in the kitchen. What is happening? Like, I just came home. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And you run right into the drama,
I'm like,
right?
Oh, here we go again.
Here
you know
we
what
go.
I mean? This is kind of how it was growing up. Like, I didn't even know what happened. Like, here we go again. Here we go again. Mom being mom. She comes downstairs, and she had made pork chops and rice, yellow rice. Mm-hmm. My food.
And for those who aren't paying attention, this is pre-Islam.
Yes.
Understand this.
Yeah,
this is because I guarantee you, someone will write in a comment or something and say, pork? What are you doing? Sister, what are you doing eating pork chops? I guarantee. Because they won't pay attention to anything until you said pork.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. And the reason I'm choosing not to be like, I'm being really open with all that. Like, I was not Muslim. So yes, I ate pork. Yes. You know what I mean? Like,
drank alcohol?
I drank alcohol.
Illegally, you're
illegally,
underage.
Yeah. But like, coquito in like
Unbelievable.
I'm Caribbean, all right? I'm Puerto Rican. And so having a little bit of
We'll talk more about that later.
all that stuff is
I think
culture.
we could have a whole episode on culture clash.
Yeah.
That'd actually be a really good one.
So anyway, coquito was not a big deal. Then after I converted, my grandmother would make coquito virgin. For me, she would make it without alcohol.
Yep.
By the way, coquito is it's a traditional Puerto Rican drink, and it's usually drunk around the holidays, and it's all coconut based, and it's delicious. But so I'm sitting there eating, and she put more oil in the pot, and I thought she was making more pork chops because she was frying them up. And she turned on the exhaust fan, and then she left. And at full heat, under the blowing of the air, the pot just exploded off the thing. And the fire started, and we had to run out of the house. And this is a really taboo subject because my family doesn't talk about it. But she did that on purpose, and that's a really hard pill to swallow. That your mother, essentially, because somebody defied her, literally sat in the kitchen because they were angry, and it was like, I'm going to teach you a lesson. You don't defy me. So when people tell me that, like, they have strict fathers and this and the third, and I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea.
Oh yeah.
So I remember screaming and running upstairs because nobody else was downstairs but me. And if I had been upstairs, Allahu Alam. And I'm like, there's a fire in the kitchen. You have to get out. We have to get out. And everybody else comes screaming, and they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, there's a fire. One of my family members ran downstairs, and it was like the house had like two set of stairs, one that led into the kitchen and one that led towards the front door. She ran down the steps that led towards the kitchen, and the flames just, like the smoke, everything just hit her in the face. She pulled the door closed, ran up those stairs, and we ran out. And then we had two small dogs. And I remember thinking, oh my God, they're going to burn. And someone else ran in, grabbed the dogs, and just tripped down as they were running. And so they, in order to not fall, they let go of the dogs, but they threw them. And so me and my aunt literally, like, we caught the dogs. It was crazy. And, my grandmother comes back a few minutes later, like nonchalant, with this tiny little bag in her hand that I think she had taken with her. Because I think, and I can't be clear on this, so, may Allah forgive me if that detail is not correct. But I think I remember her leaving, because she said she was like, I'm going to go to Walgreens. Yeah. After she had set the thing. And I said, okay. But I figured, all right.
I have no idea why my Apple Watch decided, it was listening. She was like, I figured as much.
Yeah. I think I saw her
Listen, guys, you're going to have some talking products every now and then in the podcast because we're blind and
this is how we manage our life.
Right?
And that's a whole separate episode, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about that later.
Anyway, so I think I remember her leaving with a really small bag. And I don't know if she did that on purpose, like decoy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that she came back way too soon from Walgreens. Like, the fire trucks are there. We're fine. No, nobody, they got there on time. There was just damage to the exhaust fan, like the area, you know what I mean? It didn't spread anywhere, alhamdulillah. It just was contained very quickly. But it was scary. It was an oil, straight up oil. Like, it was a grease fire. And
just thinking about taking a big bottle of vegetable oil, pouring it in a pot, turning it up on high.
Yeah. And then
turning the exhaust fan to blow on it.
Yeah, because she had the thing right under
it's combustible.
Yes.
That's the word?
Yeah.
Combustible. Yeah.
So we were fine. Alhamdulillah, there was damage to all that though. But she came back way too quickly. And she's like, oh, what's going on? What happened? Like nothing. And I was...
Because think about it. I mean, this is her house. And maybe we'll talk later about how much this house meant to her.
Right.
And I mean, and she just goes and it's on fire. And
right.
She comes back like, oh.
What happened?
What? I mean, imagine you walk home and you find your house on fire.
Right. That's not going to be your response.
Yeah.
Or she didn't see the fire. She saw the fire trucks. But immediately you're going to think, holy crap, what happened?
Yeah.
Because, when the fire trucks come, they also send the ambulances. And they also, you know what I mean? They send all the first responders.
Yeah.
You're going to think, oh my God, I just went to the pharmacy and what happened?
Yeah.
No. She just said, oh, what happened? And that's when my family members and I just looked at each other and we were like, oh my God, mom's being mom. And that was the extent of and the thing is, no one knew. No teachers. No one knew what was going on at home. Because at school, and she was like in the community, everybody
she was the
loved
exemplary mother.
Yeah. She was the fighter. She was, why would anybody suspect anything? And we were the perfect kids that never said anything. We knew better. Oh, we knew better. So we never said anything.
Yep.
And nobody ever knew. And I remember, I don't think my teachers is even going to remember this, but I remember I had one friend and I told her what had happened because the next day I just broke down because it finally all had hit me. Like, yeah. And she's like, what is going on? And she kind of knew, her and I were really close. So she knew a lot of what was going on at home, and I knew a lot of what was going on at home at her house. And she knew, and she was like, you have to tell somebody. Like, this is literally put your life in danger. You have to tell somebody. I'm like, please don't make me tell anybody. Please, no. But like, she kind of almost drags me to one of our teachers that we were close with, and she's the one who starts telling her, and she's like, oh my God, like if this is, I have to call child services. Like this is, I was like, oh my God, no, 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 you can't do that. You can't do that. Like I start freaking out, and I'm like, she's making it up. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. But now that I think about it, I think I don't know. I don't know how that, but the teacher was like, okay, if I notice anything, I'm going to have to call. But she let it go. Alhamdulillah. But I was freaking. I'm like, you can't say anything, because if you say anything, oh my God, like the legit fear that I was feeling. If somebody finds out, the trouble I'm going to be in.
So we're kind of coming up to our mark.
This
just to let you know.
Okay. Well, this is good, because that happened on a Sunday, and my friend passed away that Friday.
Yeah.
And these are the things that got me thinking there has to be like
more
it was
than just this.
It was a straw that broke camel's back, so to speak.
Yeah.
After all the years of everything, there has to be more to life. And so we can leave it here.
Okay.
And alhamdulillah.
All right, alhamdulillah. All right, guys. So make sure you like and share this podcast, rate it on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. Make sure you follow us on all of our social medias at Islam by Touch. Yadira, you want to plug?
Yep, you can follow me at always Yadira.
And you could follow me nowhere. I do none of this for myself. I really don't care about social media. I mean, I got a Facebook.
Well, no, here's the thing. Like, social media is not necessarily my thing, but you got to do it for, to let people know how you're doing and all that stuff. So.
Dita wants to do it for her own art, for her singing, for her stuff like that. And then, of course, we do our thing for Islam by Touch. And it's an all-around effort. It's a good way to let people know what's going on.
Yeah, to keep people in the loop of what's happening with
what
we're doing.
Make sure you share this. Let people know that we're doing this. Wife, you got anything else to say?
No, alhamdulillah, that's it. Inshallah, we'll, keep the story going next time.
We will keep it going next time, where we take you behind the blind. See you next time, guys. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.